My coworker adopted a kid from Ukraine, and now she's going around at work asking us to adopt him. So my coworker is a total weirdo. She and her husband are extremely religious and have a lot of adopted children, 8 so far. To each their own, Mary enjoys telling everyone at work about her personal life, so when she decided to adopt a child from Ukraine, everyone knew about it. She chose an older child because it was easier for her and her husband. She says, this happened 2 years ago. Mary has asked me to babysit the boy, I'll call him Tony, a few times, and that's never been an issue because I love kids. It's just me and my boyfriend here, and our place is small but clean and really well kept, so even with Mary's constant dramatics about how horrible the kid was, I didn't see any obvious issues, and he seemed to enjoy being over. Mary's house is disgusting, for lack of a better term. Mary never stopped talking about how much Tony enjoyed it at our house, but I just assumed the child was having a good time. Mary has recently been at work, telling anyone who will listen about how terrible Tony is, how cruel he is towards the other kids, and how she wants to get rid of him. She sent a freaking mass email to everyone in our department, asking if anyone wanted to take her child from her. She calls it rehoming and says it's fine. I logged onto Facebook today, and it was the same story, as she has photos of Tony on her timeline advertising his readoption and asking people to contact her if they are interested. I haven't responded to her email yet, and I haven't commented on her post, but I'm about to rip into her for what she's doing. She's gone from weird to full-blown psycho. Should I call CPS? I just called the cops, but they seemed completely unsure what to do. They agreed to the welfare check. The post is still up. Is this actually legal? I know very little about adoption, and a quick search for rehoming gets mostly animal-related results. Edit, it all went wrong. There is currently mass insanity, but I will provide an update for everyone tonight. Most importantly, the children are safe. Update. I received DMs from people who worked for local and state governments, as well as private agencies located outside of my state, but who offered their contact information. I had people who spoke Russian-Ukrainian offer to help me contact the Ukrainian embassy and provide me with contact information for embassy departments. People even contacted us and offered money for Tony's immediate needs in case we decided to take him in. I am deeply touched by everyone's genuine concern for Tony and his siblings. One day, I hope to be able to tell Tony that he is loved and cared for by people like you, even after everything that has happened. The information you guys provided helped us act quickly and get the ball rolling on this situation faster than my boyfriend and I could have figured out on our own. I talked with the cops, and to be honest, they were as confused as I was. The person I spoke with on the phone was fairly stumped, but he admitted that they should at the very least conduct a welfare check. I've had previous experiences with welfare checks and had a nagging feeling that something wasn't right. Someone DM'd me the priority line for my state's Child Protective Services hotline. I immediately got someone on the phone, and as soon as I mentioned that trafficking could be taking place and that she was advertising the child on Facebook, it was also a public post here, they acted quickly. I told them everything I knew about Mary and Tony, as well as everything Mary told me about Tony's adoption. The person I spoke with immediately stated that she suspected that the adoption might not even be legal. I was shocked. I sent all of the screenshots I had to the person I spoke to and requested a follow-up if possible. I stated that my boyfriend and I were willing to take Tony temporarily if necessary, but the CPS representative said that was impossible. Then the waiting game started. I think last night was the most stressful night of my life. At one point, I was about to drive to Mary's house on my own, but my boyfriend stopped me. It was tough. At around 2 a.m., the cops contacted us. I should point out that I have yet to hear from CPS. The officer I spoke with was careful and limited in his statements, but he did tell me that CPS arrived at the home shortly after him. In a few words, he implied that Mary had spoken with someone about meeting Tony the next day, and that CPS suspicions had been confirmed. Tony's adoption was illegal. Tony was rehomed with Mary and her husband from another state where placement must be approved by a judge. He didn't go into detail, except to say that other issues came up, and CPS removed all of the children from the home for their own safety. He didn't specify how long they were there, only that it was still a long time. I agreed to drop off all emails and records at the station in the morning. I called our local FBI office because my boyfriend and I wanted to double-check that we had covered all the bases. They told me that they lacked jurisdiction in the matter but would still write up a complaint and refer the matter to the State Department. When I went into work to print out the email, things went downhill quickly. The owner of our company, whom I shall refer to as Big Ange due to her strong similarity to the mob wives woman, had discovered Mary's email. Big Ange was frustrated and was waiting for Mary to arrive at work at her desk. My friend reported that Big Ange waited from 7:15 to 9:30 a.m. and that Mary came to work with a BS story about how her children were being unfairly taken away. Mary asked time off from work to clear her name and devote herself to reclaiming her family from this misunderstanding. I wasn't there to witness it, but Big Ange, who has 6 children herself, appears to have ripped Mary a new a-hole. Mary has been fired, and rumors suggest that Big Ange may or may not allow her to file for unemployment benefits. My head is still spinning from what has happened. The last 24 hours have been insane. I'm grateful the system worked so fast. I just hope they find a long-term solution to this problem and Mary does not get to reclaim her children. My heart breaks for Tony and the other kids. Now, I'm not sure WTF was going on in Mary's house that led CPS to remove them that night, but I'll sleep better knowing they're not with psycho-ass Mary and her husband, at least for now. I'm worried about Tony and the other kids' future, especially since Tony's adoption may have been illegal. But I am going to hope for the best. I need a drink.